Better turn off the volume so I don't give us crazy back. Hi.
Howdy, y'all.
Here. And I know
it is right
in the middle of your work day, your school day, whatever it might be, but here we are, and you can catch us on replay. If you're watching us later, that's okay. There's going to be prizes for people that stick around today, but also if you watch on replay, there will be a prize option for you too. So stay tuned, okay? Hi guys, I'm Audrey Vargas. I'm tuning in from the Bay Area. I'm in Benicia, California, and this is my buddy Michelle Shosa. She's in
live from my laundry room
in Texas, and we are here to talk about clean deodorant today. And a lot of you guys had some pretty strong opinions of it when we asked for your experience yesterday. Thank you so much for everybody that shared. This is a very starting to be in vogue topic, I think, in like not just the clean beauty world, but people are becoming more and more aware of the harmful potential links in like more of your mainstream, like normal antiperspirant deodorants. So I think even though people have been begging Beautycounter to make deodorant for like as long as they've been around, they really wanted to perfect it. So here we are, 2021, starting it off with a bang with this amazing addition to our lineup. But in true Beautycounter fashion, we want you guys to understand why. Why is it worth your time and effort to make that switch, to potentially inconvenience yourselves, to go do something new, to maybe stray from something you love? We want to empower you with the knowledge to be more informed, safer consumers for you, for your family, for people that you're buying for. So here we are. I have a background career. I own a spa. I'm an esthetician. So I'm the product snob, skincare junkie of the group. Michelle's a doctor. She's an optometrist. She owns her own practice in the Woodlands. And before doctor world, she was in the medical health world, public arena as with a master's in public health. Yes. So she's really an expert in this field. Take out, her education that she gets from Beautycounter and training that we learn in the safer realm, but just in preventative healthcare, really. She has a focus on living a cleaner, safer life overall, and practiced it years before she became aware of lack of regulations in the beauty sector, let's say. So, we're going to dive into that. I'm going to first announce the winner from yesterday. So yesterday, your challenge was to watch my video, the little welcome, and to share with us what your favorite deodorant is and if you've actually tested out anything in the safer realm. There's no right or wrong answer. We just wanted to get a little bit of insight into your practices, and we're breaking up this pack to give you some of this has nothing to do with deodorant, but these are also very rare items to have clean, safe, and super effective. These are some of our claims to fame. So we're going to give you each one of these serums. The first winner is Ann Powell. You are going to get the Counter Plus brightening oil. Ann Powell, congratulations. And the second winner is Carol Ann Gillis. You are getting the overnight resurfacing peel. And you know what? I hadn't held this up to the light. This is beautiful. It's like a dark blue bottle. How pretty. And then Rachel Villanueva, you are getting the Albright vitamin C serum. And I guess I should write these down so I don't forget as time progresses. So congratulations. And hold on, peel and oil. There will be more prizes at the end where we might have a pop quiz question at the end that if you decide to really listen closely, you might win a prize. We're going to be raffling off a charcoal mask as well as a charcoal bar. And we're going to go into how you're going to use those and what those have to do with your detoxification process and armpits. So one of them will be done live today. And then one of them will be done on replay. So if you're watching this in replay, when we go to ask the question, write replay and then your answer. Okay. So that way we know we can decipher it when we're looking through later on to see who the winner is. All right. I think that is surprises. I don't want to leave out anything super important, but Michelle, dive into toxins, products, and absorption.
All righty. So most of y'all probably who are in attendance have at least gotten kind of the background info as far as what we put on our body is absorbed not only into our skin, which is great if it's products that we are using to get results with our skin, but also absorbed into our bloodstream, which can be not so great, right? So what we put on our skin, our largest organ is absorbed into our body. And we know that that can have, you know, a copious amount of downstream health effects, most of them undesirable, right? I want to remind everyone, if you guys haven't heard about it, you can definitely use the old Google Scholar and look it up. But there was a study done by UC Berkeley with some teens, and they removed all of the toxic ingredients from their cosmetic products. And I think it was 3 days later that they tested their bloodstream levels for these chemicals that they had also tested before. And they had dropped dramatically just in discontinuing these things from us for 3 days. Now, that doesn't mean that they didn't have effects on the body or on the cells, you know, long term beyond that. But the good news is we know that if we remove these products from our regimens and our lifestyle, then we're removing those chemicals. And we're going to touch on this later, but why do we care about foreign chemicals in our body? And, you know, that's something really relatively new. Over 80,000 chemicals have been introduced into commerce since World War. I always get them mixed up too, I think. And very few of them have been tested for human safety, you guys. Like, we are the guinea pigs, right? And yes, we live in an incredible country that has incredible things, but we are not great at regulating the consumer product industry. We really haven't regulated it, and we've left it to be self-regulated by those industries. But what's important is all of us every single day are being bombarded by like glues used in the products in our home and detergents and, you know, dyes from our clothing, hair products, you know,
flame retardants on like every single piece of furniture that you buy
totally,
or rug.
Totally. You know, every day we are being bombarded. I mean, it's like jet fuel in the air, right? Like endless numbers of chemicals in our environment now versus, say, you know, definitely 100 years ago, right? And so our body we are made to detox and we are made to heal, right? Our bodies are miraculous, what they do every single day. So me, you know, using only a deodorant with harmful ingredients isn't going to kill me, you guys, and it's not going to give me autoimmune disease. But that my body can only handle so much. So between my liver, my kidneys, my gut, my lungs, I only have a certain number of ways, my skin, to detox what I'm being exposed to. And so our body has a toxic load. And it tends to be that there's a tipping point, right? Like it can creep up what's in our body. And all of a sudden, boom, then you see the health effects, whether it's cancer or autoimmune, you know, conditions. I mean, how many of us have friends or ourselves have autoimmune conditions? So we're not just talking about a rash or some eczema, although those can be incredibly bothersome. We're talking about serious health effects. And so if you can, you know, we always say progress over perfection. And, you know, we all follow the 80-20 rule here, right? You know, 80% of the time we're trying to make the best choices and we all have our things. But if you can, you know, swap out some products, why wouldn't you? Especially when they're products that, you know, are chic and work. My lighting. I mean, it's beautiful. So anywho, that is just in general toxins absorption. Okay, so
let's go specifically into deodorant. So why, you know, deodorant, I think people have a paranoia, especially in America. I feel like we're very scent aware, scent obsessed, smell. It's so satisfying, but we're also so paranoid of being stinky. We don't want bad breath. We don't want our armpits to smell. We don't want anyone to smell any gas. Like, people are very paranoid of this. So let's talk, why do we sweat to begin with?
First of all, I don't have a lot of stories today, but I was going on my run this morning. It's like freezing cold outside. I'm like 10 or 20 feet away from this lady walking her dog, you guys. I was almost knocked over by her fragrance. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, like she's living in that cloud all the time. I'm like, that's why people get cancer. This is what's going on in my brain. So we sweat to, number one, regulate our temperature. Most importantly, we sweat to regulate our temperature. So sweating is important, you guys. Also to remove toxins from our body. So again, our body can detox through a variety of different routes. And sweating is one of them. We remove heavy metals, BPAs, which if you're not familiar, I learned a lot more about BPAs recently, but BPAs were actually initially discovered for actually their hormonal effects. I learned about that from Dr. Shayla Salem, that's on our team too, the other day. She's Fertility MD, something like that, on Instagram. But they're plasticizers. They make plastic soft and malleable to where, like, if they need to shape a plastic, it will shape, it won't just bend and break, right? But the bad part is they are estrogen mimicking releasers. So BPAs are bad news. They're found in water bottles. They're also using, and we don't have to get on this tangent, but similar compounds to BPAs, bisphenol C, and all sorts of things in plastics that are still harmful to our health. They just haven't been, demonstrated to be harmful the way that BPA has. So, always opt for glass and metal when you can. Also phthalates. Phthalates we can think of when we think of fragrance. Things like vinyl shower curtains, vinyl flooring, vinyl look-alike wood flooring that you may have in your home. That's releasing phthalates. And sweating helps to detoxify those. Also, so I think, we covered toxic load.
It also detoxifies less mysterious things like alcohol. Think of if you drink too much the next day, like, not me, but sometimes your friends, or I think of like certain friends in college that I'm like, you smell like a bottle of booze the next day because it's sweating out of them. Michelle and I played water polo in college. So like we always worked out together the next morning, regardless of what our activities were the night before. You're sweating out any type of toxins.
We're 15 minutes
those that we put in our body knowingly and unknowingly. Thank goodness our body has a detoxification process. So a lot of those things, we have no idea if they're in our body or not, but there is some stuff that like, please come on, detox. We drink a lot of water to help that process. We pee it out, we number 2 it out, and we sweat it out. Those are our detox process. If we're really sick, food poisoning, we throw it up, right? These are good processes. We need them to happen. Insignificant armpits, or no? Is that all part of it? Once we're at our limit,
I covered toxic load at the beginning.
So then we're going to dive into antiperspirant versus deodorant. Some people are super well versed on this. Some people, they think it's one and the same. What's the differences between antiperspirant and deodorant? So you or me?
Me. So the goal of antiperspirant is basically to put it on and you can go to that stressful meeting or go and work out and you're not going to sweat out of your armpits, because typically it has an aluminum compound that's literally clogging your sweat duct and blocking it from producing sweat. Correct. Not good. Like, it's just not good. And then also, so deodorant, so a lot of the traditional products on the market are typically an antiperspirant deodorant combination, right? And then the deodorant, oftentimes people associate with fragrance, right? Which it's like, do you want to try and cover like the smoker that douses herself in perfume, right? Or like when somebody sprays an air freshener in the bathroom, like it still smells like poop. It just smells like flowery poop, right? So the difference being, and we'll go into more how the clean deo functions in just a few minutes, but poop's on my mind again. I did come up with an idea this morning, and Audrey, loves my metaphors, but so you think about functions, like things that come out of our body, right? Naturally on a daily basis that are supposed to come out. Poop, right? Like we process, that's how we excrete excess estrogen in our body, is we have to methylate it and we poop it out every day, you guys. It's important. Otherwise, we have imbalance, hormonal imbalances, all sorts of things. So we all poop, right? There's that kid's book. Everybody poops. Do we, as a solution to pooping, do we like cork it? Do we block it? Do we take like anti-diarrhea medications to like constipate us? No, we absolutely do not, you guys. We mitigate it. We handle it. For babies, we put diapers on them. For ourselves, we go to restrooms, right? We manage it the best way that we possibly can. And so I was just thinking about that with sweating, right? Like this idea that like somehow the solution to sweating is to stop it, right? And so we're going to tell you that's not the healthy, safe solution. And then we're going to give you the healthy, safe solution. And that's what I love about Beautycounter, you guys. I just celebrated my 5-year anniversary with Beautycounter, and I had 2 little ones when I started. And, you know, I was trying to be the perfect wife and mom, and I wanted to feed my kids healthy food, and I wanted them, you know, to sleep the perfect ways. And I wanted, you know, I was searching for clean products way back then for my kids. Sadly, everything that, you know, I used was greenwashed. I remember my mom begged me to use the Johnson & Johnson so they would smell like a baby. And I said, absolutely not. But what I have loved about Beautycounter from day one is it takes a whole arena of my life and I get peace of mind in that arena. I know that any product that I grab in my bathroom or that my kids do, or my daughter who got a hold of my lipstick, as she always does, my 2-year-old hides behind the couch and tears up a brand new lipstick. I don't worry that like they're consuming something unsafe or that there's something unsafe on them. So I love that we have total peace of mind because we ban over 1,800 ingredients from every single one of our products. And we batch test everything for contaminants that could be in the raw ingredients or in the finished product in the process. And I know no other company that is doing anything to that level.
Totally. And on the no other company. So there was a very, very popular answer yesterday. I was actually surprised because this was never one that I was super into before. When I asked what deodorants you guys are using, and so many people are using Dove. I was like, wow, Dove has really got the deodorant market. Look, I was expecting Secret. I just thought that was the most popular of the like generic brands. So I decided, you know, this is like the audience winner. So I went in and I looked into Dove ingredients and safety. So I want you guys, in case you're new here and there's people that have never heard of Beautycounter, this is the first intro, and there's some of you that have been using Beautycounter for years and you're like, just tell me how to freaking win these prizes. So bear with us. EWG, Environmental Working Group, is our probably favorite, most used resource on the web. One, because it's a .org, it's not funded. There are plenty of other like research sites you can use, but a lot of them, they're a little bit commercialized, so be careful there. EWG is environmentalworkinggroup.org. It started out as a way to rate, to test, rate, research foods, processed foods, and then got into the cleaning product arena and skincare, personal care products arena. So if I like to just go to Google and I'll type in Dove deodorant EWG, and then it'll pull up all of them. Well, first of all, there's over 60 different types of deodorant with Dove. So you might be using one that's a rating 6. You might be using one that's a rating 4. Every single one that I was able to find scored between a 4 and a 6, which you guys, that's pretty medium to bad news, unfortunately. We kind of say like 1 to 3, like depending on what those ingredients are that's making it higher rating can pass, but 4 to 6, you really want to be looking for a safer option. Now, some of the most common offenders within that are PEGs, polyethylene glycol, blah, 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 which PEGs bring a guilty conscience because one, they're often contaminated with carcinogens, okay? And you'll see PEG6, PEG2, any type of PEGs, nix it, okay? That's an easy one to remember. BHTs was very common in there, which BHTs, I can't think of what the full science word is, but is linked to cancer, is linked to developmental reproductive harm, and is linked to endocrine disruption. So that's like across the board, like BHTs are no bueno. Many of them had aluminum in it, which aluminum is really the buzzword in deodorant these days. Antiperspirant, because aluminum, like Michelle said, is what actually does the clogging of the pores. You know, it holds it. which one, we now know doing that is not great for our body's natural mechanisms to work correctly and for us to be detoxified and for us to be functioning at our healthiest level. But aluminum also has links. And again, we say links, okay, to cancers, but not proven, but also, and I almost think this is like a little bit, not more scary, because we're not here to talk about scary, but more, oh my God, I don't want this to happen to my family or myself, with Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's, we all know, is very heavily studied right now, but is still quite a mystery to what happens. And once it happens, it's not reversing, right? And that is actually very well known across the board. Heavy metals are really bad for our brain. Lead is illegal in paint because they don't want babies eating it to get some lead in their system. And Michelle had pointed out, it's teeny tiny amounts can wreak havoc on our neuroscience, on the way our brain works. And we all need our brains to be functioning, where life's hard enough as it is with our normal intelligence level. So why take that risk, right? And when we think about excuses, which I am all about busting excuses, I'm a challenger, so I like to find fault in people's logic on a regular day. But when you bring in this topic, is okay, so you like the smell of it, so you're putting yourself at risk to have Alzheimer's when you get older because of the smell, right? When we break it down, oh, but I love my fill in the blank, it smells like coconut, or it smells like this. Really? Because you want your armpits to smell better, you're increasing your risks of getting Alzheimer's as you get older. Or even if cancer, if it's still a gray area, if it's not to possibly link to cancer, why would you even risk it, right? So anyway, so Dove, not to throw it under the bus, we're not here to talk smack about other brands, but because that was an audience fave, I thought I would dive into that one. Again, there might be some that have better ratings, some that have worse, but every single one of them ranked before between a 4 and a 6, including, which this goes into the greenwashing, thinking that we're making the best choice. There's a newer one on the market that says Dove 0% aluminum, or Dove aluminum 0%. Just because it doesn't have aluminum in it doesn't mean that there aren't other health offenders in there, right? So like, great, it doesn't have aluminum, but what else you got? So that's why we want you to flip over. This doesn't have a label on it, it's on the box, but flip it over, look at the ingredients to really see, am I trusting the marketing, or are they using the marketing against me and my little bit of clean beauty to actually advertise and trick me to buy it anyways? And that's where clean beauty is very much on the rise. It's very in vogue. So a lot of people want to make safer choices. They just don't fully understand how. So EWG should be your best friend. There's a free app called Healthy Living that you can actually boop, boop, boop at the grocery store. This is coming full circle to Michelle talking about giving you peace of mind. Is eventually time is money. That took me 15 minutes to look at every single Dove product, blah, 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 right? So to know, okay, well, I have a safer option there. And we want to teach you how to use it right and that it works. Did I miss any important ingredients? Mish, or like disease?
You didn't miss anything. Nope.
Awesome.
Moving on.
You stop. You've talked a lot too today. It's not just me. You guys, I get teased a lot for being a talker, but that was quick. All right. So we have several people in here asking us, but teach me how to detox then. Teach me how to detox. So that's where we're at. So Michelle has a good story because her mother had this like exact experience. It can be, it's a process to switch for some people. We all have different hormones. We all have different stink levels, but switching especially from an antiperspirant to a natural deodorant, there are steps that we can give you to help this transition work better, but we also want you to set your expectations. It's not just like buying a different brand of antiperspirant. So what happened to Davida?
So I got my deodorant in the mail back in the summer, and I was so excited about getting it. And we were going out of town and we were dropping off Camilla. And so I just like threw the box at my mom on the way out the door, right? And I come back to pick up my baby. She's like got all Camilla's little stuff, and she's like, and just hands the deodorant back to me. And I'm like, great, thanks. She's like, I'm not using this. This doesn't work. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you sure you don't want to keep trying? No, it doesn't work. So I take it, right? And then we had some conversations, and mind you, she was moving. She has used for years, you guys. I don't know why I cannot stand it. It's the crystal one that you have to get a little bit wet, and then it's like all wet on your pits. I don't like it. She's used that for years. So she was using a safer option already. So I don't remember how I got it back in her hands, but anyways, I got the deodorant back in her hands, and there's a cool little enclosure card. Shared that with her. Oh, I think I had screenshotted something and sent it to her about how there's going to be a detox period and what to expect. And so she tried it again. And then one day I was like, hey, why do you still have my deodorant? And she's like, oh no, I'm not giving it back. So she loves it now. So that's what we're here to do, is for all of y'all to give you an understanding that switching to natural deodorant stinks. Somebody was asking in the comments, I'm already using natural. Do I still have to detox? I can't tell you. I don't know. But here's what my expectation would be for all of y'all, is that for 2 to 4 weeks, you're going to have a detox period from whatever you've been using. Just have that expectation. And so I think I covered all of that, right? And yes. It depends on, sorry, it does depend on like your stress level. It depends on the clothing that you're wearing. Sometimes when I'm in the exam room and I'm like one-on-one with somebody in close proximity, one of my white coats is made of like polyester, and it, for some reason, like pulls stink out of me. And this hasn't been like since I've switched to this deodorant. I actually haven't worn that one, but my husband did a huge, big Zoom meeting this morning, and the first thing he did, he comes walking out of his office, he's like, oh my God, I gotta change my shirt. And I was like, stress sweat? I mean, I don't know if anybody else does, but I get stress sweat. And so then a friend had posted a reel this morning, so I was like, wait, we have to do the sniff test. I'm like, did you put your deodorant on? And I sniffed. It smells awesome, you guys. I love the Counterman deodorant, and he still smelled fantastic. He just had like excessive wetness because he was in one of those situations. Sometimes what you eat, you guys, sometimes for me, still that time of month, especially when I was pregnant and nursing, like and again, that was pre-Beautycounter, so I can't speak to that for myself personally, but there are still going to be times when your body isn't as well regulated when it comes to sweating and odor. But anywho, moving on.
Yeah. And so during the process, during the transition, and some people, when I switched, I was like, okay, it's kind of weird. It kind of smells different, but I never smelled like, oh, I didn't ever feel like I smelled like BO. It was just different. It was a different process. So most of you, if you've been with Beautycounter for a while, you probably have a charcoal mask, maybe. If not, what? Get it? This is the detox Big Mama Jama, okay? So yes, it's intended, it's created for your face to pull out impurities, to pull out oil, to help to clarify. But guess what? Detox. Put it here. Let it pull out that excess toxins. I remember having a strange smell for a while that I swear it was metallic-y, and maybe it was just because in my mind I was like, oh, I'm not using aluminum anymore, but it was like it wasn't like BO, it was a whole different type of scent that smelled like weird chemical.
Oh, wow.
It just smelled different for a few days. And so had I have thought of using this, I think that could pull it, because it is. If you've been using antiperspirant forever and those pores are clogged deep down inside with lingering metals for a few days, that is going to be part of what is coming out. Okay. So the charcoal mask, this process, this isn't something that we just made up. Like lots of people at Beautycounter HQ has like a whole like little regimen. Use this maybe once a week, twice a week. Our charcoal bar too, if you have that, our charcoal cleansing bar, which can be used all over your face. Me as a spa owner, I recommend it all the time to clients to help to prevent ingrowns. I recommend it for underarms to help with like rash or irritation, because it helps to pull those clogged pores, clean out those clogged pores. These in conjunction with each other can be great. So if you're really worried about it, have some backup. And these are products that you're not going to only live under your armpits forever. These are products that you're going to use all over your face, your skin, you know, just really good to have in your arsenal, let's say.
One point with those two items is like, don't scrub your armpits. Right. You know, that's why people use shaving cream. You kind of want like a fresh, clean blade, because it's delicate, sensitive skin and tissue there. And so you can cause little abrasions. You can actually over exfoliate, like keep your loofah away from your armpits, because then what happens is you cause skin to keratinize, right? Like, so on the palm of our hands versus the back of your hands, you want your armpits to be soft and smooth like the back of your hands, and not tough and protected like your palm of your hands. So you can cause a little bit of skin keratinization and discoloration just from scrubbing or over exfoliating your armpits in general, aside from this detox process in Beautycounter.
Correct. And your armpits is an area that doesn't typically need the exfoliation because it is inherently created, one, to stuff is supposed to be coming out, but also this is an area that's getting chafed, that's getting rubbed, i.e. exfoliated, whether it's because of our clothes, whether it's because of us walking, because we have little time. If we don't, I don't shave my armpits every day. So the hair itself is already, it's kind of an abrasive area. So it doesn't need the extra exfoliation the way like this part of your arm or your thigh or something might, let's just say. And okay, let's see, diving into Beautycounter deodorant. It actually works. It actually works. So many people that have never been able to use safe deodorant before that say, oh, it smells. Now, one, did you actually, were you patient with it? Maybe that would have worked in it. You just didn't give it enough time. But clean deodorant has a bad rap because it's really hard to do. It's really hard to have ingredients that truly help to absorb that smell, not just mask it. And affordability wise, they're typically going to use a fragrance, not an essential oil. They're typically going to use the teeniest, tiniest amount of hydrating, nourishing ingredient instead of a really substantial amount of, so we have shea butter and coconut oil. Usually it's one or the other. Usually it's coconut oil or it's a petroleum-based product that purely sits on top, doesn't actually nourish, hydrate. And a lot of people have said, even in the comments today, but I know just in my experience, that they can't use baking soda because baking soda irritates them, which can be true. Baking soda, when you look at like the pH of our skin usually ranges between like a 4 to a 5, 4.5 to 5.5 pH. A baking soda is a 9. So it's drying, but that's what we want it to do. We want it to be pulling the moisture, right? That's what baking soda is there, is to be kind of a moisture wicking, moisture absorbing thing. But we have it, it's a blend of baking soda and cornstarch. Cornstarch, the purpose in skin use, is a calming, healing substance. It's common to recommend cornstarch for like diaper rash and stuff because it's really, really healing. But it also has that moisture pulling ability. So we have, I think, the benefits of baking soda or sodium bicarbonate without the potential irritation. The other reason, and this is like not just, don't just take Michelle and I's word for it for our clients and family, but in Beautycounter's clinical reviewed studies, our first and foremost, we want safety. And allergens, even though we talk about allergens and irritants, it's like, that's like maybe the smallest concern because we're talking about these big diseases and these grandiose like health issues, but allergens, irritations, that's like that's encompassing of what we want to protect against. We don't want somebody to use something just because it doesn't cause cancer, but it's irritating to their skin, right? And so using a really high percentage of shea butter and coconut oil, healing, soothing, hydrating, so you're not going to be overly dry. So it's not going to change the pH the way other higher percentages that are only relying on baking soda to do the scent thing. The other thing of why it's not irritating, a lot of times natural deodorant, it's real hard. Like the instructions will actually say, hold on to your armpit for a minute or two to warm up. And if you don't, it's like, oh, it's like scratchy because the goo, the wax that it's holding it like solidifies and cold. Well, then the baking soda is gritty, is hard. It's like congealed in these little things. And so it makes it like a rock-like substance that you're rubbing on. So it's irritating from the get-go. We have a really good mix of beeswax and Michelle, I'm not going to be able to say it, the sea wax.
Candelilla or
Candelilla. So candelilla is a plant-based, it's a botanical based wax. that gives it a little bit of the solidness, and there's just enough beeswax in there to still be soft. Many people with clean deodorant, natural deodorant, they'll say it gets gooey. Well, that's because it might be too much of the beeswax, and so it's gooey, it's goopy, it's all messy. This is a good mix of it. So it's still going to have that soft, creamy application without it irritating the skin, still have the benefits of the baking soda with the other really calming, nourishing. It's just a brilliant formula. The other thing that's with beeswax is a natural humectant, meaning it pulls moisture to the skin. So it's pulling moisture to keep it from drying while the baking soda pulls the moisture from the body. It's just this like, it's just
so
this
the
brilliant
baking
formula.
soda is absorbing. So the wetness is going to come out, right? And then the baking soda is absorbing the wetness, right?
The wetness
so,
and the smell. I mean,
right.
if we put baking
It's
soda in our refrigerator, right, to
neutralizing
make
the
it so
odor.
it's not stinky.
Yes.
Yes, it's odor absorbing as well. Okay, so we could go on and on. The other great thing is this is refillable, and Michelle already started a refill. Can you show? So we're also caring about the environment. Remember, we're a B Corp. We are putting people and planet above profit, but that means that the price tag on one is 28, but the refill is 18, and you're using less plastic. You can mix and match your, it's hard to see on the colors there, but so just because you buy rose here, who cares? And when you're out and you want to try coconut, pop in a coconut replacement. So the refillable is brilliant, and really where we're going as a company, trying to make the best, wisest packaging choices as well.
And it being refillable reduces water consumption, fossil fuels, and greenhouse emissions by an estimated 47%. And if you think about it, it depends on usage, but it's estimated that this is going to last you 6 to 8 weeks. Obviously, some people work out, reapply, that sort of thing. But so think about it. If you're purchasing this, let's say, that would be over 6 times a year, right? Like, let's say 8 times a year. And if you're decreasing the effects on the earth by 50% because you're using a refill versus a traditional cartridge system, that's awesome, because it's also chic and amazing.
Yeah, that's a lot. All right, so we have a rose, we have a coconut, and we have a lavender, okay? The coconut across the board is the favorite.
Blew everybody out of the water in the group. We have the vast majority, and then lavender is number 2. And coconut smells like vacation, y'all. It really does. I feel like for me, it's actually the strongest of the scents. Just, this is my personal, like, when I'm wearing it, I smell it more. I think the lavender is next, and I do like that. I feel like it's like a warm, cozy type smell. I was not expecting to love the rose personally, because I haven't always loved products that had rose essential oil in them. They can be kind of strong and, botanical sometimes. But I personally, for my everyday use, I really do love the rose one. But that's just me personally. And we were, 100% of people in clinical trials said that this is non-irritating. But it's more likely that if you have a skin sensitivity or eczema or anything, that you could potentially have a sensitivity to lavender essential oil. So just a thought, a recommendation, if you're undecided between which one you want to try, and you do have a little bit of sensitivity or a known sensitivity to lavender, of course, maybe start with coconut or rose first, and avoid the lavender to start out with, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so we are going to do a pop quiz now.
I'm going to throw out one more thing just really quickly.
Okay.
So if y'all were around, y'all may have noticed that Beautycounter went to launch this like back in July, and we were so excited, and all of us consultants got it and we loved it. And then they went, because this is what Beautycounter does if there's any concern at all. And there was never a concern of performance or safety, but because it was like here in Houston, it was like 120-degree heat index outside. So with that being said, we've learned a lot about our incredible safe formula, that it does like cooler temperatures. So now Beautycounter is manufacturing, storing, and distributing actually in, cooler temperatures, refrigerated trucks, things like that. This time of year, it's not going to be that much of an issue. But if you're, going to a hotter tropical climate or something like that, it's going to be okay in heat. It's still going to perform if it does get hot. you may need to put it in the fridge to get it to firm back up a little bit. And like as we go into the warmer months, if it's getting delivered onto your porch, you're going to want somebody to snag it. You're not going to want it to sit out on a Texas porch for half the day while you're
think
at
of
work.
like a candle or something, right? It's
Right.
it's wax.
Reminds me, I sent Brian a candle, like one of the awesome volcano candles from Anthropology when he was deployed to Iraq. And it had like hundreds of dollars worth of like dried fruit and all this like yummy food and stuff.
A candle.
He had to throw away the entire package.
That was a silly move. Okay, so we're gonna do a pop quiz, but I also want to remind you guys how you're earning entries. Okay, so every $20 that you spend is an entry to the raffle. So if you want to get the deodorant and like refill a couple other things, or you want to try all 3 deodorants, you're going to be getting multiple things. Okay, every $20 is one raffle entry. We are taking pre-orders today because this launches tomorrow. So if you reach out to the person that invited you, reach out to your consultant, let them know what you want to order. You're going to get double entries for that whole order. Or if you can't communicate today for whatever reason, it's orders placed by noon Pacific tomorrow. Okay, so maybe you just get on first thing in the morning, or maybe you get on at midnight when it launches, whatever. Anything before noon tomorrow will get double entries. Okay, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I want to work with these people, Michelle and Audrey, the coolest, and you want to be a consultant or an educator, or maybe you just want access. I mean, when Michelle joined, she was like, I want to buy a lot of these. These are safer. They're everything about this company is amazing. I'm going to join, whatever, we'll figure it out. So even if you want to just like stock up on your own things at a really great discount, this is a great way to do it. If you join as a consultant, you get triple entries on your enrollment. Like it's buku points. So you can join as a consultant and still be entered for the raffle. Okay. If you are not yet part of our customer loyalty program, it's called Band of Beauty. It costs $29 to enroll. You get a free charcoal mask. Hey, you need that mask, right? And overnight peel, as well as free shipping if your order hits $100. And then you're always earning 10% back in product credit. It's really the way to shop. If you're not part of Band of Beauty yet, make sure with this order, you add it to it. You're going to also get a bonus entry, but also it's more bang for your buck just moving forward, right? There's no commitment. There's no auto charge. There's no auto ship. It is purely rewards should you choose to use them. Okay. There's no obligation. Okay. And the prizes that I'm going to be doing a charcoal mask right now. I'm going to ask you a question to win the charcoal mask. If you're watching on replay, you're going to be competing for a charcoal bar. But then the rest of the prizes for purchases are, we're going to break up a deo set. So we have these mini deodorants, one each. Okay, we'll raffle one each off. There's actually a men's fragrance in here as well. And the grand prize is $100 shopping spree. So there's a lot of prizes up for grabs. All right. I think I hit that all. So the question to answer, you need to type it in. Okay. And we're going to have the first person that comes through. I don't know how long of a delay we have. So if we're like waiting for a long time, we might get you back on replay because it'll show us in chronological order who answered first. So my question is, what is the main function of underarm sweat? Why do we sweat? That is for those watching live. If you are watching on replay, again, if you're watching live, don't answer this. If you're watching on replay, your question is, I wrote down a couple questions. Now I can't decide what I want to ask. What is one of the health problems associated with typical antiperspirant deodorant?
And if you're watching on replay, you're going to comment like replay and then your answer so that we
also
know.
If you're a consultant, don't answer. You're not competing for prizes, y'all. It's just our guess. Okay. And people are popping up, but again, I want to go and sort it in chronological order. Good job, you guys. Good job. Lots of people are answering, and you are not following the rules, you guys.
The first one for heat regulation I see is,
if you're watching on replay, which is not right now this second, if you're watching on replay, in your answer, you write replay and then you write the answer. That's the second question. All right. So It pops up funny on the screen though. It's showing me like live, so I can't see so we will tell you who the winner is a little bit later when we go in and sort it all out, unless you can see, but I feel like what you see and what I see is probably
the first
different.
one I see for heat regulation, temperature regulation, oh, never mind. Well, I don't know.
See what I mean? It
she
bumps
changed
them
her
down.
answer. I don't know. I guess it counts.
Okay.
I see Heather Petrie answered heat regulation is the first one on heat regulation for mine.
I know, but there's also consultants answering.
Right. Okay.
I think there's a consultant.
Oh, my bad.
So I'll type out a post who win, okay? And tag you in it. So that's everything we got. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you have more questions, reach out to us, reach out to your educators. They know all of this information too. We're just putting a pretty bow on it. And I would love to see your process. So if whoever you are, wherever you are, if you're on Instagram, find us and like show us your pictures, show your consultants your pictures. So Michelle is Dr. Michelle Shosa on Instagram. I am Spaudrey, like Spa Audrey, Spaudrey. Follow us, comment on us, show us your pictures. If you follow Beautycounter people, you probably know we love the pictures with the selfie with the charcoal mask on your underarm, because people are like, what's happening? It brings up the chance to educate on cleaner, safer. That's what we're here to do. We don't want to sell everybody in America a Beautycounter deodorant. We want everybody in America to dang sure know how to choose their own safer deodorant. If they choose to try Beautycounter, great. But if they're using one that's safe already, bravo.
I think we missed a really important topic is if you're considering joining us, which Audrey did mention, we'd love to have you as an educator or to get your products at a discount. But you can get, did you mention with a starter set purchase at enrollment, they can get the free Counter Time minis right now. So I think it's $169 value, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you are right. So Counter Time is our claim to fame, clean, safe retinol alternative. So if you're a skincare junkie like me and want to ignore the retinols on our never list, you don't have to ignore that anymore. You can actually use something that is still high performing, still skin regenerating, still super duper anti-aging, tightening, brightening, all the things. But it's safe. It's not linked to cancer. So that's great. It's not linked to skin cancer or growths or tumors. And yeah, you get that free with enrollment right now. So any other questions, ask your people. If you want to ask us, great. We're around. Thank you for tuning in. Can't wait to hear how your progress goes. Bye, guys. Thanks, Michelle.